Welcome to the Food Demystified channel on the topic of the mystery of the all-famous Xiao Long Bao filling, our very first two-part series podcast. While the skin of Xiao Long Bao requires many years of skills to master in order to obtain the right thickness and consistency, the one puzzling thing to me when I eat Xiao Long Bao was, how did they even manage to put a soup inside a dumpling? Imagine trying to wrap a few spoonfuls of soup with a thin sheet of dough. Seems impossible, right? Well, today we'll be looking into this food mystery the food size way. Before going into the all spicy details about the mysterious soupy filling, let's take a look into the history of Xiao Long Bao and its origin. Xiao Long Bao, also known as a soup dumpling, was suggested to have originated in Shanghai in a place called Nanxiang during the late 19th century, and at that time, it was known as Nanxiang Darou Bao, translated to be Nanxiang Big Meat Bun. The name Nanxiang Darou Bao was eventually changed to Xiao Long Bao, translated to be Little Basket Bun. This perfectly fits how Xiao Long Bao is presented nowadays, a few Xiao Long Bao in a bamboo basket. Surprisingly, Xiao Long Bao was actually only made famous worldwide in the mid-20th century through a well-known restaurant chain called Din Tai Fung, which was originally located in Taipei before expanding all over the world, thus making Xiao Long Bao a worldwide sensation. Now, let's move on to the mystery of how to wrap a soup inside a dumpling. After looking and reading out various recipes and resources, I found that the long cooking process, which ranges from 2 to 24 hours, along with the key and mysterious ingredient gelatin, was the secret to this mystery. So, after listening to this, you may have these two questions in your mind. Why is gelatin the key ingredients that make wrapping a soupy filling in a dough possible? And why is a long cooking time so crucial? Well, not to worry. Today, we'll be addressing this question one by one. Let's start with the question on why is gelatin the key ingredient that makes wrapping a soup in a dumpling possible? To understand this, we must first know what gelatin can do. Gelatin is a type of protein that when mixed in a hot liquid and upon cooling is able to transform the liquid into a jelly, similar to how Jelly-O works. Looking at this, we can clearly see how easy it is to wrap a soup in a jelly state. Therefore, gelatin, a type of protein which is able to transform a soup or broth into a jelly, is exactly the answer to how the soup could be placed into a dumpling. From research, it was found that a concentration of around 1 to 5% weight of the gelatin is typically needed to turn a liquid into a jelly, depending on how strong you want the jelly to be. So, for example, a 1 kg broth would probably require about 10 to 50 grams of gelatin to turn it into a jelly. Now, you must be wondering, a jelly-like soup wrapped in dumpling skin, won't it just produce jelly-filling Xiao Long Bao instead of the soupy ones we all love? Well, the answer is gelatin is able to turn back into a liquid when heated to a certain temperature. To understand why gelatin is able to form a jelly upon cooling and back to a solution when heated, we must first know the term melting point. So, melting point is basically the temperature at which a given solid will start to melt into a liquid state. Take for example, ice, which have a melting point of 0 degree. You realize that when you take out ice from the freezer and place them into your mug, the ice would slowly start to melt and turn to liquid. Well, this is due to the surrounding temperature being higher than the ice cube's melting point of 0 degree, therefore causing it to melt. Now that we understand what melting point is, let's move on to why is this a key factor for gelatin to do its wonders. In size, jelly with similar property to that of gelatin is known as thermo-reversible gel. The term thermo is derived from the Greek word thermos, meaning heat. Reversible means able to change back and forth into something, and gel is the scientific way of referring to jelly. To make things less complicated, I will just refer jelly to gel for scientific names and jelly for non-scientific references. So for the term thermoreversible gel, it means a type of jelly that is able to change back and forth between a jelly and a liquid depending on the heat or temperature it is exposed to. For thermoreversible gel, the melting point of the jelly forming ingredient and the temperature that the jelly is exposed to are the determining factor as to what state it is at, a jelly or a liquid state. Take Xiao Long Bao soup base as example, where gelatin is the jelly forming ingredient. But upon cooling the hot soup containing gelatin below gelatin's melting point, a jelly is formed, and this process is known scientifically as the soy gel process. And upon heating the gel past gelatin's melting point, the jelly becomes the initial soup with gelatin, and this process is known scientifically as the gel soy process. So, to summarize, gelatin being a thermoreversible gel with a very low melting point of 30 to 37 degrees, which is just above room temperature and very close to our body temperature of 36 degrees, means that the soup containing it can stay in a jelly state at room temperature during wrapping, and it is able to change immediately into a liquid upon steaming of the dumplings and stay liquid when served to consumers, since it is at a temperature above gelatin melting point of 30 to 37 degrees. Thus, answering the question of how is it possible for a soup to be wrapped in a dumpling. From this, you can also see the importance of temperature and melting point of gelatin in enabling a soup to be easily wrapped in a dough and at the same time being a soup when served. Well, we have come to the end of the mystery of Xiao Long Bao Part 1. Stay tuned for Part 2 of this series, where we explore and answer the second question, which is, why is there a need for such a long cooking time to make the soup base of Xiao Long Bao? We will also be preparing some bonuses in our Part 2 of this series. Do check it out. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel if you find this helpful. Thank you.